Okay, we're going to look at the Marvel app. The Marvel app is a browser-based prototyping tool, very similar to other prototyping tools such as InVision app. And also it offers you a free option as well as a paid for plans, which are paid for either yearly or monthly. Now, the difference between the free and paid for plans are that it removes branding, the Marvel branding. Also, you can password protect your prototypes, and also you can download them for offline use, which the free version doesn't offer you. Free version is really good. It offers you lots of options. You can have unlimited projects, although you're limited because you can't have other users on that account, so you can't work collaboratively, or you can't put out your prototypes to get other people to comment on it. But it's a good option to get up and running to test out if that app's worth taking out the monthly subscription. So what you need to do is go to the marvelapp.com website, and you need to sign up for their free account to get running. Now, I've already set up the free account, and here's some of the projects I've set up. So you can have these projects in these little cards. It offers you lots of different options to get going. So certainly you can, once you've done that, you would upload screens. So these screens are made ideally in something like Photoshop or Sketch or even Illustrator. And then you can upload the actual screens, and then you put hotspots over them, create links to other screens, create transitions, and also have events such as swipe, tap, etc. Now, here we are inside the dashboard for an app. It gives you lots of opportunities here. You can't add a team on the free one, as I mentioned before. That's out for you. But what you can do is you can set up your project to match a device or an output. You can also uncheck a number of these default settings to do with disabling functions or enabling content. Some of them, again, are not available in the free plan. Also, again, you have other options for putting on the top of certainly Apple devices the actual status bar. Certainly, sometimes these apps are very much leaning towards iOS rather than Android, but certainly it does have lots of opportunities to put Android certainly settings on there if you wanted to do that. Okay, so I'll just come back here and click on there. Also has security. Again, security password protection is not available in the free plan. I will close that down. Again, you can't download your app. It comes up here. You can't really download it unless you go for the paid for, and then play. You would preview it, and also finally you can share. You can share your finished prototype. Either you just have the URL which you can send to somebody, you can come along and email it. Also, you can embed your finished prototype in your site, or you might have it in things to do with Behance or other portfolio sites. You can do user testing, and all that does is you can monitor someone interacting with your phone for usability checking. That similar function exists in the InVision app. I think it's quite new and may not work so well, but it might be in the future get a lot better. Then you have publishes. You can actually publish to the Marvel app site, and then people can actually see your apps. You can make them public to showcase your apps. Okay, so that's what it's got up at the top, and certainly we've got projects and teams up at the top. And again, teams are only available if you pay for app. And if we go along here, we also have support and a knowledge base where you can come along and find out information about how to get up and running in using the Marvel app. Okay, so what I've done here is I've created some screens, just some very, very simple screens. This is just to show you how the functionality works rather than we're looking at designing interfaces on a usability outlook. So what we have here is we have these 6 screens. They've been laid up in Photoshop using artboards, and they've all been outputted as PNGs, and they're ready to be uploaded to our Marvel app project. So they're all ready. So you need to figure everything out, do all your planning, make sure you've got all your UI sorted. You've made some interactive flowcharts so you know how they all connect with each other, how the transitions will work, and everything is figured out before you upload all these images to start making your prototype. Now, here I am back in the Marvel app project page, and I need to click the green button up here on the right to create a new project. So I'm just going to call this stuff because it's just about stuff. And then once you've got that, you go down here and you have the output device. I want to make it for an iPhone, so I click on iPhone. I don't need to worry about password protected, and I just click create. Now it'll create my project. As mentioned before, you can link to Dropbox or cloud, other cloud storage. If we go up here, you'll see you can have Google Drive. Also, you can just upload your screens directly from your computer. Also, down the bottom, you can actually have photographs, so you can sketch out your ideas on bits of paper and upload them and put hotspots on them and make them work as rough interactive wireframes. I personally find that probably your best bet would be to download the Marvel app for a device for either Android or Apple and actually take photographs of your sketches and then immediately put the hotspots on them, make them interactive rather than trying to get them into a desktop or laptop computer here. Now, what I will need to do once I've got this is that I will need to change my project settings. So I come up at the top. As we had before, it seems to default to an iPhone 6, and I'm going to make it iPhone 5S. And the reason I'm doing that is because I've made my screens to these dimensions, 640 by 1136, so they will just fit and look good because that's my target device. You can change other options down the bottom. You can preview your prototypes in the browser, and it gives you the opportunity to change the background of the page where your phone prototype will sit on. Also, you can change how it's presented. You can toggle to have it portrait or landscape if your app has that. Okay, we've looked at these before. We got general. Again, it has disabled hotspot hints. When you're making a prototype, not everything will be clickable. So the user might be clicking on something that doesn't have a hotspot, that isn't been set up to be clickable. So what this does, if it has automatically hotspot hints. So if someone clicks on something, a button, and you can't click it, it doesn't do anything, it will flash and show what does. So obviously you would probably, leave that on, so you wouldn't switch that off at all, you wouldn't disable it. Probably what you would disable would be swiping through screens, and what this would mean, the user can just swipe through all your screens on your app regardless of what buttons or interactivity you have on there, and they may miss out on that interactivity. You can turn that on, and as I think a default it should have that disabled. There may be times when that's what you want to do, you want to flick through something really quickly, and if so, to say, turn it off. You can scale images down, so if you have very large, high-res images, they will sort of scale down and make them half the size of the original if it's not on a high-density screen. Again, I'll just leave that. That's not applicable to this project. Comments are only available if you have the paid-for plan where people are able to put comments on. And then again, we'll look at the ISO for the status bar. You can change what it looks like on there. Sometimes people create mock-ups that already have a status bar, and then what happens is Marvel app adds another one to that, so you need to bear that in mind, whichever one you want. I'll just leave it on white text on a black background. As mentioned before, security, that's not available. Password protection on the free plan, which I have, so I'll close that. Right, so I need to upload my screens. Now, what a good idea would be to probably set up something like a Dropbox or a Google Drive, but I would say set up a Dropbox just specifically to do with this project and only keep all your screens that are associated with your Marvel app projects in that Dropbox. So a dedicated Dropbox just for Marvel. You can sign in using your Dropbox username and password. Just have one set up for Dropbox. Now all I will do is I will click from the computer. Now I need to find where my screens are. They've all been saved as PNGs, and I'm going to upload those 6 screens once they've been selected. This may take some time depending on your connection, how many screens you're uploading, the densities that you're working for. Now the first thing you can do is I can click on a screen and I can reorder them. Sometimes that may not matter, but what I've got here is a splash screen, and then I've got 5 other screens that are part of the app. Now part of the app here is my home page, so that has to come after my splash screen, and then I've just got these 4 ones to click through. So what will happen, the splash screen will just appear, show the logo, then it'll go onto the home page, then I'll be able to click on each of those items and it will take me to the item page, and then it'll have these little crosses up at the top that I then just tick to close that down and take me back to the home page. It's not on usability, this is just on the functionality of using this app. Okay, so first up, what I will do is I will click on our first one, our splash screen, and I'll click edit. Now once I'm in edit, this is the edit mode. So what I can do is I can put a timer on there. I just want this to appear and then go away and go on to my home page or home screen. I click the timer and this says how many seconds you want it to be. So if I do 0.3 of a second or 0.5 of a second, and then you've got to pick a destination. So pick the destination and I want it to go to my home page, right? So that's what that will do. It will go on for half a second and then it will go to my home page, right? So close that down. Okay, I'll just do the preview. There it goes, so it goes through. So what I can do is I might come back here and I'll just do the timing again. I'll make the timing a little bit longer. I'll just make it 1 second. Have that, and then preview again. Comes on, and then goes on to there. Now you see I've got a black background, and the reason being here is my backgrounds to my screens are transparent, and it's just shown through black. So if I click on done up at the top, I get back here. Now if I go to the settings, and I go to the appearance, down here it says prototype background, set the color inside your prototype. So if I want to do it something like white, I will just change that, slide that up here, I'll make it white. And now if I click on this and I click preview, it'll come on. Now it goes to a white background. That only happens if, like me, you've got transparent backgrounds on your screens, so bear that in mind. Now I come back to the edit and I click done. Now the next thing I need to do is put some hotspots on my home page. So I come here, here's the hotspots on the home page. So I can come along and I put one hotspot here on my telephone. Now when you do that, it brings up the options to where you want to link it to. So first of all, I'll link it to my phone screen and it ticks to do that. The second thing I need to do is do a transition. So what I need to do is what's going to happen. So what I will do is this is slides and slide up, and these are pushes. So push just means it'll push over the top. So you see in the image. So I'm going to have it pushing left. Now the actions, you can do taps, you can do swipes, you can do pinches. These are just the different actions that a user will be doing, gestures they are. I'm just going to leave it on tap. I come up here and I close it. Now the next thing I will need to do is go over my tap, and again the pop-up will appear. I need to link it to tap, and I just realized the clock says tap too, so we'll just carry on regardless. Okay, so I've got that. Next thing I'll do, again, I'll have it push left, I guess, and then the action is going to be left on tap, and then I close that down. Right. Then the next one I'll just do over my box. Again, I'll link it to box. Again, the transition, I'll push left, close that down, and finally I'll have the clock, although it says tap, and drag it out there and go for clock, and I'll have the transition, push left. Now you can go to any of these and click on them and bring up the options, so if you want to change them you can do those, and then you can close it down here. So I've set up hotspots in each of those. Now also what you can do is you can have this fixed header, and what the fixed header does is you drag it down so your header will stay, so you can scroll and it'll be fixed. So you need to have a sort of an image that has something to scroll to for that to work, but that may be an option if you do have a longer screen, longer than the size of the viewport on your device. Here mine is exactly the same height as the viewport on the targeted device, so it doesn't really matter. Now if I go to preview, it'll take me here, and what I will do, say I'll just go for the phone, I click on the phone and it pushes and comes up. Now I want to create a button up at the top to change that. Now obviously that's not working up here, so what I need to do is to come back to the tab, because it opens in a new tab, and I need to put some buttons on. So I need to go up and say done. Now I click on the box and I'm going to put a hotspot over here. There we go. Now that's going to link back to our home, so I click on there, and a transition I'm going to have slide up, and then I close that. Now once I've done that, I can click where it says duplicate. When this is selected, it says duplicate. So if I click duplicate, I can say which other screens I want this on. So I tick, 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 and that will just put them all in the same location. Confirm 4 screens. Yes, that's what I want. And I can come back here in the edit mode and close that down. Now, again, I'll just click done to take me back to all my screens here. Now, if I go to say the phone screen, which I have, you'll see it's automatically just pasted that on exactly the same location with the link to the home page. So if you have a button that is doing the same functionality and links on a screen, on the number of screens, you can just duplicate it and have it on all your screens. So it speeds up your workflow. Now I come out of that. What I will do is I'll come along here and say edit. Then I'll click preview. It'll come along, go into my app. I click on the clock. I click up here, it takes me back. I click on the phone. It takes me back. I can click on the tap, click on there. I can click on the clock, although it says tap, and then I can go back again. Okay, so that's just a real simple way of, quickly doing a prototype. Once you've had it all planned out and upload it, it should take next to no time to get it going. So I come back to my tab that's got my edit mode, and I turn done, and that'll take me back here. So here's all my screens, all done. You lay them all up, have them exactly the way you want them to be, and then there is a play button which will take you into sort of the play mode in the browser. This is sort of what a user will see when you come through. Now I've got a bit of a scroll bar here, and I think the scroll bar is generally because my screen's maybe slightly a bit bigger than the actual screen I'm trying to present, so make sure you get them totally accurate. Right, and again I can close the play tab or the presentation tab up. Now what you will need to do is share it. So you've finished your project, you need to click up on the share button. Number of things, again we've looked at these when we were introducing this app. You have the URL, so all you would do is take the URL. You could send it to someone or write it down if you wanted to, and if we paste it into here, that will be the location of your app. That's where your app exists, and it will work as we've just seen before. I'll close that down and come back. The other one, you can email it to someone, or you can even text message it to someone. Coming along and doing that, there might be a cost in doing that, so it might be best to email. Also, you can embed it. It gives you an iframe with your location of your app, and that's again really good if you're using it for a portfolio or embedded in a site, or you're promoting something. User testing, which we touched on before, is that you can actually document and record someone interacting with your interface for usability testing. And then finally, publish. You can make it public within the Marvel app community if you want to showcase it and show off your app. Okay, so once that's done, however you want to share it is up to you, but you just select one of those, more or less the variants of the same thing, and then you're up and running. As mentioned before, with the free one, it doesn't give you the option to download it, but really it's pretty good what it offers in functionality with the free version. Also, I have another tutorial on how to embed video, which that's the really good thing about the Marvel app. You can embed video, so if you're doing a movie player app, or it really is a good prototyping tool to use to embed video within your app prototypes. Okay, and finally, if we go and get the app for either Android or Apple, so it has an actual app where you can preview your projects. You can actually create the sketches and turn those into clickable prototypes if you want, and also you can view your projects and they will open up full screen as if they were a app basically. So you can get the Marvel app for Apple, and also you can get a Marvel app for Android, so you can download those and use those on a device or a phone. Or if other people have this free app, they can look at your projects if you've got a client, or if you're working collaboratively. So they're the two companion apps you can get for Android and Apple to preview Marvel prototypes. And finally, certainly go to the Marvel app site. You can follow them on Twitter. They do offer you some free kits if you do sort of sign up, follow them on Twitter. But certainly their site is really, really good for just getting extra information about the Marvel app. You can download sketch papers for PDF. You can download to do your plans for your prototypes. Also, you can actually link it to your Adobe Creative Cloud storage if you've got a subscriber to Adobe Creative Cloud, and you can certainly upload your screens from there. Okay, so that's the Marvel app. Certainly it's worth looking at, and looking at other similar prototyping apps that are available, comparing what's right for you for your project, both price and functionality.